Hello, this is Rachel Dworkin, Kelsey King, Sarah Wieland, and Haley Sharp, and today we are going to talk about digital divide in the classroom.
What is digital divide? It is the socio-economic difference between those who have ready access to computers and internet and those who do not. Having ready access to internet refers to those who have broadband service at their homes. The biggest divide is between urban and rural areas due to the cost of inputting a fiber optic system. The cost of this is lower in an urban area because the internet will reach a greater amount of people, so it splits the cost of inputting the system, versus only reaching a small number of people in a rural area. Also, urban communities are often wealthier than rural communities, so it is easier for an urban community to afford it.
How big is the digital divide? Well, the digital divide is quite significant between rural and urban areas in Iowa. Only 2/3 or 66% of rural Iowa have broadband access in their own homes, while 3/4 or 75% of urban families have broadband service in their homes. This gap is due to the fact that it costs close to $10,000 to install a broadband network in a rural area, where in an urban area it costs less than half of that. But there are alternatives to the fiber optic network for broadband, and in order to bridge the gap of digital divide, broadband, all Iowans should have access to fiber. When looking at the United States as a whole, we can see that 34 million Americans lack access to high-speed internet, and 23 million of those 34 live in rural areas. Rural areas are greatly impacted when it comes to looking at the digital divide. This visual shows us the density of households unserved by a broadband provider by census block. The areas in yellow are areas that lack broadband service. As we can tell, most of these areas are located in rural areas. Here is also another visual that shows the digital divide between rural and urban areas. As we can see, there is a growth of broadband internet in these areas, but there is still a difference between the rural and urban areas.
So now, how is the digital divide being bridged or narrowed? I'm going to talk to you guys about two ways that Iowa is trying to bridge this digital divide. One of the ways is the Connect Iowa project, which was enacted in 2016. The goal of this project is connecting rural areas, because they have less access to internet, to broadband internet or higher speed internet. This project will engage Iowa communities with the tools and enhancements they need so that their technology is up to standards with today's fast-growing digital technology. However, this is really hard to enact because it does cost $10,000 to get the ball rolling and start up this project. Another project that the state of Iowa is enacting is the Bridging the Digital Divide for Iowa's Communities project in 2011. So the goal of this project is to upgrade the existing networks to a 3,000-mile network by providing 10 Gbps, or billions of bits per second, that measures the bandwidth of digital data in each county. So they will also provide 1 Gbps, or 1 billions of bits per second, that measures bandwidth, of Ethernet service to about 1,000 community structures. So community structures are including libraries, schools, or government facilities. With these projects, it's very hard to get the ball rolling and to make these happen because it does cost a lot of money to upgrade the existing network services and to get higher access to internet in the rural cities of Iowa.
What can you do to address the effects of the digital divide in your classroom? Something to take a look at would be the Connect Iowa project. Directly from their website, Connect Iowa's mission is to change lives through technology. It is leading the effort to increase high-speed internet access, adoption, and use across the state. Connect Iowa is a public-private partnership between the Iowa Economic Development Authority and Connected Nation to unite local governments, businesses, and citizens in the goal of increasing broadband service in the state's underserved areas. This is really going to help connect rural areas with broadband internet, as it can be very expensive to put fast, high-speed internet in these areas because the houses and people live so far away from each other. Something that you could do in your classroom would be bring your own device. Some teachers allow students to bring their own devices to class. This could be helpful if students have devices but do not have high-speed internet at home in order to use those devices. This can help them learn how to use the devices and what all of their functions can be and how it can help them in school and in life.
So how has technology in the classroom affected students and teachers? Next, we will show you a video that was taken at Carroll Community School District that is located in Carroll, Iowa. Carroll, Iowa is about 3 hours west of Iowa City and is a rural community. Almost half of Carroll does not have ready access to internet in their homes. This video was taken after Carroll Community School District implemented a one-to-one technology program within the school district.
As a teacher, these issues will definitely affect how I teach. Some families might not be able to afford internet in their homes, so it might be hard for me as a teacher to assign projects to be done at home when they don't have access to high-speed internet.
Making sure that students have access to the technology they need will help them succeed in all subject areas in school. Having technology in school for students to use will teach them the power of technology and how it can help them succeed in school and in life.
As a future teacher, I will have to take into consideration the effects that digital divide will have on my classroom. But with almost 100% of all schools having internet access, as a teacher, I want to incorporate technology into my classroom, but only using higher ordered thinking skills. It is not a replacement for teacher work.
When you are teaching in a rural area, you have to consider the possibility that your school district may not be able to afford devices for each student or have high-speed internet that covers the whole district. Without having devices for each student or having high-speed internet, this will affect how you plan your lessons, how you teach your lessons, and how you will assign your students homework. When assigning homework online, you will also have to consider the possibility that your students may not have internet access at home.
Now that you're all experts on the digital divide, let's try and bridge this divide together as a class. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Rachel, Sarah, Haley, or Kelsey. Thanks for learning!